guys, welcome back to my channel. Simone here, and welcome to Vlogmas Day 14. So today I wanted to do a really fun video where I recommend 10 booktubers to you. I love booktube. I've had some amazing shout outs over the last month during Vlogmas and before that as well, and I really love it. I love talking to people on Twitter and booktube itself and commenting on videos and people commenting on mine, and honestly I'm having the best time. So I wanted to do a little shout out video where I'm going to talk about 10 booktubers that I love, but in doing so I wanted to make it a little bit different, and so what I thought I would do is recommend each one of those 10 booktubers a book. Now I have checked their Goodreads where I can, and I think there's only one of them that I don't have their Goodreads for. I can't find it, and so I've tried to check that you haven't read it, as long as you've kept your Goodreads up to date, of course. But if you have read it, I hope that you loved it, and maybe I got it right, who knows. But yeah, I want to explain as well why I've chosen that particular book for this particular booktuber, and yeah, so I have 10 booktubers that I want to talk about and 10 books that I want to recommend to them. So let's get started. I'd also like to hear what your recommendations would be for each of those booktubers if you've watched them. And if you don't watch them, you better go and subscribe because they're all incredible. So the first booktuber that I want to talk about is Mary from With Cinnamon Please. Now Mary is one of my favourite booktubers. We always comment on each other's videos and I absolutely love talking to her. She is one of those YouTubers that just has brought a smile to my face at many occasions. She did a recent video where she actually shouted me out, which was amazing, so I'll link that below so you can go and check it out as well. But she's also doing Vlogmas, so definitely go and check out her videos. I love Mary, and we also did a buddy read of The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I believe that was a couple of months ago now, maybe a little bit longer, but it was amazing. It was really great and it was a nice enjoyable experience. So from watching your channel, Mary, I know that you love classic books, and I think that you've read quite a lot of them, and you also often like books from different languages or different places. So I've deliberately picked a book that I think possibly will align with that, and hopefully you'll really enjoy it. So I'm going to recommend to you The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. I really liked this book. It was not my favourite book of all time, but it was a book that I've thoroughly enjoyed, and I do think that it will be right up your street. It's about a little boy whose dad takes him to this kind of library of lost books, and he tells him that he can take any book that he wants from this library, and he picks this book called The Shadow of the Wind, and then he reads this book and he loves it. Now he rereads it and rereads it throughout his childhood, and he decides that this author has been such a massive impression on him that he really wants to find other books by him. But then he realises that someone is systematically wiping out any sign of this author's work, and then he tries to figure out the kind of story behind that and why it's happening, and he tries to stop it. And honestly, this is such a good historical fiction book, and I genuinely think that you'll really like it, so I hope that you pick it up because it's definitely a good one and I recommend it to you. So the second booktuber that I wanted to recommend to you all is Anna from the channel Anna Francesca. Anna is incredible. She's so wonderful, so lovely, so kind, and she actually was the one who started the BookTube Secret Santa that I'm a part of, and I have actually had my Secret Santa present now, and I will be doing a Secret Santa tag based on that situation and talking about the kind of things that happened and the people that I've met and talked to. And so there's a little group that we have going on private message on Twitter, which is amazing, and Anna's just so wonderful. I've talked to her on her videos a few times before, and she's always really kind and she always replies, and yeah, I love her channel. Now Anna, I don't know a massive amount about your book taste because I think your book taste quite varies quite a lot, so I went with one of the books that I know you gave a 5-star to, and that was Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty, and I know that you really liked that book, at least according to your Goodreads you did, so I really hope that you do. And sort of based on that, and a little bit different because I wanted to kind of make it something that you might not know about or that you want to definitely want to check out, but I would like to recommend to you The Good Girl by Mary Kubica, which I read earlier this year and really loved it. It basically follows a woman who has been, it's about a woman who was kidnapped and then she's returned, and it's kind of about the psychology behind her and what's happened to her, and it's kind of her trying to figure things out. There's lots of twists and turns which I think will keep you on your toes, the same as Big Little Lies, but I think it's definitely got that like psychology element to it. I watched your movie to TV adaptation of, I think it was Sharp Objects by Gillian Flynn, and I feel like it's got some kind of similar vibes in terms of the psychology behind it and the kind of like psychiatry. So I feel like you'll really like this, and I hope that you really enjoy the book if you do choose to read it. But yeah, that's my recommendation for you. And everybody go check Anna's channel out because she's incredible. A third booktuber that I would really like to recommend is Jen from the Bookish Ginger. This is a channel that I've watched for a really long time. I think Jen's amazing. She has this kind of sense of humour that I really enjoy. And I don't know, there's something about her that just makes me feel very calm and quite peaceful. And I would just really love her channel. She also has like animals running around in her videos, and who doesn't love that? So yeah, I love Jen's channel. I 100% recommend that you go and check her out. She also comments on my videos a lot, which is really, really lovely and very supportive, so thank you so much to Jen. But Jen, the book that I have decided to recommend to you is based on the humour. Again, I think that you have a good sense of humour, and I think there was a lot of humour in the How to Stop Time by Matt Haig, which I think that you gave a 5-star to and really enjoyed. So the book that I'd like to recommend based on that is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeymoon. And I know a lot of people might not quite see the comparison between that, but I actually think there's quite a lot of humour to the book Eleanor Oliphant, and honestly it's one of the most incredible books that I have ever read. I absolutely loved it, and I honestly would just like to recommend it to everyone, to be honest with you. But I feel like it's the type of humour, it's quite dry, and there are some bits to it that perhaps not everybody would really kind of grasp onto, but I feel like it is your kind of humour, and maybe I'm wrong, but that's the kind of vibe that I get from you, so that is my recommendation to you. Forgot to say, guys, I am filming this quite late in the evening. It's like pitch black outside, so I'm sorry if the lighting is a bit different to normal, but I don't have any kind of ring lighting or anything like that, so yeah, I'm afraid this is what you're stuck with. Next up is Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction. Now, I've definitely talked about Ashley before. I think she was in my Mondays video, which I'll link below, which was my BookTubers favourite books shout out video, and I adore Ashley's channel. She has such a wonderful quality to her reading. She's studying English at university, and I think it's just really kind of great to hear her talk about books because she has such an in-depth knowledge, and like she's so clever, and I just love listening to her talk. Now, I've decided to recommend to Ashley a book that I just feel like is your taste, Ashley. I hope that I'm not wrong in thinking that. I feel like you read quite complex books sometimes, and I think that you'd get your head around different storylines in really interesting ways, and I'd love to hear your take on this because I think it was a really fascinating read. But I would like to recommend to you Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell, which is a book of many different sort of timelines, and it's set basically there are like 6 different timelines, and I think in each one a different, like each person is a different role in each one. It's really hard to explain, and I think that's why I think you'll love it, because it is so complicated and complex, but I feel like you'd get it because that's kind of what you're doing. So that's my recommendation for you, and I hope that you like it. Next up we have the wonderful Kaz from Cats and Camera. Kaz has one of my favourite channels. Again, she has a very dry sense of humour that I absolutely adore. She has a wonderful sense of like genuine, she's just genuine, that's really what I mean. She's very genuine. She comes across in such a way that just makes me really kind of believe everything she says, and I want to read all the books that she talks about because they all sound incredible and she makes them really sound good. And yeah, I absolutely love Kaz's channel. She makes some really interesting videos. She's doing VLOGMAS, which I love, and yeah, definitely go and check out her channel. She also shouted me out recently, which was amazing again, and she comments on basically every single one of my videos, which is a feat in itself because recently there's been a lot of videos. But I have decided to pick a book that is LGBT based because I know that you read a lot of those types of books. I've watched a lot of your videos where you do like LGBT recommendations and things, and I read this book and I really think that you'll like it, and that is If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. So If I Was Your Girl follows a girl named Amanda Hardy who has just started at a new school. She's the new girl, and she meets a boy named Grant who she starts to kind of fall for a little bit, but Amanda has a bit of a secret, and that is that she's actually transgender and that she was born a boy. Now, people in her previous school knew about this, and obviously they knew that she was a boy because she used to be a boy at the school, and then she transitioned, but she got heavily bullied for it. She was very neglected and picked on at her school, so she wanted to join the new school and not tell anyone in order for it to be she wanted a brand new start basically. And then it goes from there, and it's about that. Now I feel like, Kaz, that you'll really like this because I think it's along the lines of a lot of the books that you read, and again, I know that you like LGBT in books, and I feel like this is definitely one of the good ones. I really enjoyed this. I learned a lot. You might not learn as much as I did because I think that you're probably quite well versed on reading these types of books, but I still think it's a great read and I definitely recommend it. Next up we have Linda from Linda's World of Books. Now Linda is another booktuber who constantly comments on my videos and I love her channel. She did one of the tag videos that I tagged her in, which was amazing, and I'll link her Library Lovers tag down below because I thought it was a really good take on the tag. I really enjoy listening to her talking about books. I think she has a very unique perspective and I just really enjoy listening to her and watching her videos because I think she's amazing. Now I know that Linda gave The Book Thief 5 stars, and I mean, it was amazing and it was a great book. But the book that I would like to recommend to you is The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne, which you may or may not have heard of before. A lot of people have watched the film of it, which was actually quite a good film, but I personally think that the book is just a bit more accessible, especially because I believe you have quite young children, and maybe not when they're, I don't know how old they are specifically, but I think it's definitely a story that you can read to your children for them to understand a bit more about it, because it's actually set from the perspective of a 9-year-old boy, and so I think that it really is definitely something that you could involve them in potentially. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book and I think that you will enjoy it because, like I said, I know that you love The Book Thief. Next up we have Izzy from the channel Is Currently Reading, and as I mentioned earlier on, I'm part of the Bookish Secret Santa that Francesca ran, and Izzy was actually my Secret Santa. It's not really a Secret Santa in terms of that, but you'll see when I do my Secret Santa tag. But Izzy was, it was really fun because I'd never actually spoken to or watched Izzy's videos before, but since I sort of matched with her on the Secret Santa, we started talking a little bit. I found out some really interesting stuff about her. We had a good old chat, and I think that she's definitely one of those booktubers that has something to say. She's very interesting and I love to watch her videos. I think she's amazing and I'm really glad that I discovered her. It was actually only at the beginning of this month, so I'm really excited that I found somebody new that I can really enjoy. Now for Izzy, I know that you enjoyed the To All the Boys I've Loved Before book, which again was a book that I enjoyed as well. I haven't watched the film yet, I need to do that. But I wanted to recommend another book that has recently come out as a film, because I think that if you loved To All the Boys I Loved Before, you might like this one as well. And that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Now this is a book, I think it has some similarities to All the Boys I've Loved Before, quite tenuous links, but there are some. I think that there is an element of kind of culture and talking about individual people's cultures in this. Now obviously in To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I believe the main character is a Korean main character, but obviously in The Hate You Give, the main character star is a black girl who is trying to kind of live between two different parts of her life. She has one part where she's at school and one part where she's at home, and they're very different. And then her best friend is actually shot and killed by a police officer, seemingly because he's black and in the wrong place at the wrong time. But it's just a really interesting book. There's a lot, it's a lot more hard-hitting potentially than To All the Boys I've Loved Before, because I think To All the Boys I've Loved Before is quite contemporary, whereas this one is much more kind of intense. But I think both of them are enjoyable, and I loved The Hate You Give so much, so I would definitely recommend that to you, and I hope that you enjoy reading it if you do choose to. But everybody go and check out Izzy's channel because she's incredible. Next up is a booktuber that I actually mentioned in my favourites a few months ago, so I will link that video down below if I can remember which favourites it was. But it is Lacey from Lacey D. Bell. Now I love her channel. I think she's amazing. She generally tends to read mostly YA, I believe, so I have kind of gone along that theme with the recommendation, but I just love to watch her videos. I feel like she's a really calming influence and I love to kind of just chill out and watch her videos. It's great. So for Lacey, I've chosen the book This Is Where It Ends by Marika Nijkamp. Now I know that a lot of the books that you tend to read are fantasy, generally, at least what I've gathered from your Goodreads, but I think that this kind of feels like it could be a fantasy book, which is actually a little bit scary. This Is Where It Ends is a book about a school shooting, and it follows, I think it's 4 main characters who each have run-ins with the school shooter. Now it's not from the school shooter's perspective in any way, so there's no worry about that, but it does talk a lot about kind of things that are happening, but the way it does it makes it feel like it could be sort of fantastical, but I really just want everybody to read it. Now I know some people say it's a little bit problematic, but personally I didn't think it was. I think it was really well done and I really enjoyed that, but I think that it might be a book that you might enjoy and might be slightly different than the things that you often read. But everybody go and check out Lacey's channel for sure. Next up I have Charlie from the channel Charlie Brooke. Now I love Charlie's channel so much. She again comments on every single one of my videos. In fact, the other day she apologised to me for writing so many comments, and I should just say firstly I love comments, and it doesn't matter how many comments you write, I will never get bored and never be sick of it at all, because the fact that you're commenting on a video of mine is amazing. But she basically watched every one of my Vlogmas videos from like day 1 to day 8 or something in one night, which was amazing, and it was really cool to like see the comments coming as it went, which was really nice. So thank you so much, Charlie, you're amazing. But yeah, so I think her channel is incredible. I love the way she does her favourites. She does favourites as videos the same as I do, and I love that because I love watching favourites, that's why I make them. And yeah, I just really enjoy Charlie's channel, so go and check it out if you haven't already. I know that one of your favourite books, Charlie, is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness, which was one of those books that I really enjoyed as well. So I wanted to recommend to you I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Now, for me, the elements of grief in this and loss are very similar, so I wanted to recommend this because I think that it might possibly have similar vibes for you. I think that the A Monster Calls is kind of middle grade, whereas I think I'll Give You the Sun is quite YA, so maybe it might be a little bit different for you, which I think will be quite interesting. But basically this one is about twins, Jude and Noah, who have been inseparable all their lives, and this book is actually set in two different timelines. So you get, I think it's Jude, I can't remember which way around it is, but either Jude or Noah talks from when they were, from 3 years previous to when this book is actually set. And then 3 years later, the other twins talking. I honestly can't remember which way around it is, but they're not talking anymore, and something has happened that's kind of ripped them apart. And I loved this book, honestly. There was a lot, it's quite sort of fluffy writing, I guess, like quite flowery language, but I didn't actually mind that too much. I think it was a little bit too much at times for me, but I think if you enjoy that kind of grief and loss sort of thing, I think this might be one for you, and I think if you enjoyed A Monster Calls, you'll probably like this one as well. And then the final one is a big hitter. I love this channel so much with all of my heart, and most of you will probably know who I'm about to say because she's like my favourite booktuber of all time. And that is Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books. If you didn't already guess that I liked her channel, because I think I mention her in every other video that I do, pretty much. Anyway, Nicole is wonderful. She has an amazing channel. She is so supportive. She always comments on my videos, and she shouted me out, which was amazing because I gained so many subscribers from that and so many people talking to me about things, so that was great. So thanks so much, Nicole. Nicole has over 1,000 subscribers and she well deserves it, but I think she deserves even more, to be honest with you. She is really interesting and has really helped me because she doesn't actually read a lot of the YA typical books. She reads a lot of thrillers, which is one of my favourite genres, and I sometimes feel like I can't read them as much because I feel like no one's going to care if I talk about them on my channel, but Nicole has made me realise that that doesn't matter. Like, you just read and talk about the books that you like, and you'll find the people that will come to you, because like I said, I adore her channel and I love to watch her talking about thrillers because that's my favourite. So I found this quite difficult to recommend a book for you because you've read a lot of thrillers, and I wanted to recommend one to you that I don't think you've read, but I wanted to recommend one that I really loved. And so I've decided to recommend a series to you based on the fact that it's one of my favourite series and personally I really like it, and it is a thriller. So I would like to recommend to you, the first book is Postmortem, but the whole series is the Dr. Kay Scarpetta series by Patricia Cornwell. Now you may have known I've talked about this on my channel so many times before. It's actually a little bit crazy, but I love this. It follows basically a woman who works in Richmond in Virginia, and she is a medical examiner. And so basically she does forensic autopsies of bodies and then tries to figure out what happened to them, how they died, etc, etc, and I adore it. I think Patricia Cornwell has made such a such a wonderful character with Dr. Kay Scarpessa. I love hearing about the other sides of the cases. I think each case is very unique that she talks about, and I really like that. Some of the books I haven't loved as much, but I think the first one especially, Postmortem, was really good and I loved it, so I would definitely love you to read it, Nicole, because I think that you'll really like it too. So if you liked this video, I would really like it if you would make this kind of video yourself. I had a look on YouTube and I couldn't find anyone else that had done this type of video. Now I may have been looking for the wrong thing, but yeah. If you decide to do this, I'd love to see you recommending your favourite BookTubers books. So share it with me on Twitter or something like that, and I will go and watch them for sure. Or let me know in the comments down below that you have made that kind of video. Go and follow all the 10 booktubers that I recommended because I love them all, and I definitely want you to go and share the love because they're all incredible, and there's a reason why I decided to talk about them on this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and as always, come back tomorrow at 5 PM for another booktube video. Bye guys!
We wish you a Merry Christmas.